Hello, Matt.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Hey, dude.
Hey. Oh my God, I'm very tired.
Were you up late?
Not really. Like,
I was debating whether or not I was going to brew a cup of coffee and stay up late, but I was also tired. So today I have to do that. There's so much stuff I want to just get out the door today. I might end up working very late.
like the bash lesson.
Yeah, the bash lesson, the FRR image, and some other things. Dude, KSM, kernel same page merging.
Yeah.
You ever heard of this?
Mm-mm.
So it's an optimization for KVM where there's a background process which has access to the memory regions of all your VMs, and it scans them and looks for whole pages of memory that are identical. And if they are, they do they do translations, memory address translations to optimize that memory usage.
All right.
So the idea is that it's an optimization for memory, right? If two VMs let's say a memory page is 4K or 4 meg or whatever it is, if they do a hash over 4 megs of memory and another 4 megs of memory, and if they're identical, then it eliminates one of them and then does some kind of memory address translation table for one of the VMs.
Hmm.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's like storage deduplication.
it is, but for memory. And I saw on our documentation for VMX that we have to disable that.
Hmm.
It says, and then I Googled it, and I was going around and around and then I found a forum where somebody who had it enabled was getting error 137 when running KVM in Docker containers.
Oh, interesting. So where did you disable it? Was it on the host?
You have to, yes, there's a, in Etsy default, there's a bunch of like kernel level options in there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a file called Kimu KVM, and it's an option in there, and it in fact was enabled. So I disabled it, and boom, 2.5 minutes. It's what it takes to load.
Nice. I wonder. Let me see if I can find. I wonder if it's set on my system that way because I seriously like that. The behavior you just described, where it boots like almost not immediately, but like within a few minutes, like that's what I'm seeing. Uh, where you said Etsy default?
Yep, and there's a file there called Kimu-KVM.
KSM enabled equals auto.
Okay, so the way to look that up, I think it's sys kernel slash sys slash kernel. Is that a directory?
Yeah, yeah.
Is there a thing under kernel called MM?
Yep.
Go to MM,
KSM,
ESM, and then there's a thing that says running.
just run,
What does it say?
set to one.
Oh, it is on your system. But dude, I'm telling you, I launched it like 10 times just to be sure. And every time it came up in 2.5 minutes.
Cool. Um, I was gonna open it. I I turned my attention back to my syringe design docs because I realized that I hadn't quite gotten to the point where I wanted to for this meeting. So I worked on that yesterday. But I still do have the changes to self medicate if you're interested in them, unless you made them yourself.
Oh, I haven't. I was actually gonna. I was thinking. What I was thinking. That's another thing I wanted to do. That's actually a thing I'm kind of excited about. I don't know what changes you made to the script, but I was thinking of abandoning Minikube altogether and either just setting up a VM image with a Kubernetes cluster with the script, or doing it with or a script that does it locally, like as a switch.
Well, that's basically what we're doing with Minikube now. If you use VM driver equals none, like you get the benefits of automation of setting up a Kubernetes cluster, but you just don't have it within a VM. It's just locally. So what we could do is we could basically don't even fuck with making it an option within Minikube, within self-medicate. Just modify self-medicate statically to support VM driver equals none. Don't even make it like an optional flag or anything like that. Just VM driver equals none. And so what happens is people like myself who run Linux will benefit from that because they can just run it natively on your system if you want, of course.
Or you could point the script at a virtual machine.
That's exactly right. So what we'll also do is we'll put a Vagrant file in that same repo and say, hey, if you don't want to run this natively on your system, or if you're not running Linux bare metal or something like that, here's this Vagrant file. If you say Vagrant up, it'll do everything inside of it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And I think it would Minikube, that CoreOS system and Minikube have definite I/O problems. Like his lesson for some reason is super slow when I load it. Which reminds me, you said that you went from plain HTTP to HTTPS at one point. Did you revert that?
Nope. I just tested I know that because I just tested it yesterday, so I know it works with HTTP. HTTP port 30,001. The way to go.
I thought it worked better with HTTPS.
Nope. There shouldn't be like a performance difference, but regardless, no. It looks like Drew and Ethan are at a TFD event, so they won't make this call. But no, I mean the reason is it's just I didn't want to bother setting up a self-signed certificate, so I just said HTTP is fine.
Okay.
Well, we can do that if you want, but I mean,
even on my machine when it's running directly, the whole setup, interacting with the VQFX is slow. Like it's really slow. Like there's
you just did.
What's that?
Even after all the fixes you just did?
Yeah, dude. It's like there's a 1 second round trip time between when I hit, like if I hit enter, it takes a second for that to come back to me.
By the way, you said you've gotten all this stuff working, right? So did you get it working just natively in Docker, or did you actually get it working in NRE Labs, in Antidote?
What are you talking about?
Well, you said that you modified this KSM flag, and all of a sudden it's working way better.
Well, it means it's loading. Well, it's loading like 2.5 minutes, right? That's much better.
But in what though? Like, how are you launching it? Just natively in Docker yourself, or are you talking about the whole thing is working much better?
NRE Labs.
In the lesson.
Yeah, when I click the lesson, it takes 2.5 minutes for it to go through, and then it pops up.
Did you have to?
But Malta still isn't working.
Oh, okay, cool. What did you do for the QEMU KVM setting? Did you modify that Etsy default QEMU KVM file?
Yeah, and I set it to 0.
And that's it? What do you have to run a command to reload that? Or does that just apply to any new VM that's spun up after that point?
No, that's you have to do a mod probe on KVM-Intel or whatever it is. There's an actual loadable kernel module.
Yeah.
That reads that in. So you either have to reboot or you have to reload that module.
And then, did you do anything with the loop module as well?
The loop module?
Yeah,
What do you mean?
like
You mean
literally
the
mod
loopback
propane,
plugin for
mod propane.
CNI?
No, 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 no. Like the actual loop kernel module.
I don't know what that is. What is a loop kernel module?
It's like, I don't know. I run into it all the time when I used to do like mounting like CDs because you can use that there as well. But for this, it needs to be enabled for the full VQFX image. And apparently on my system, it's not. But
What the?
I don't.
How do you know that?
Well, for one thing, it's the actual launch script for the VKFX is giving me an error.
Okay, so Linux loop kernel.
But this is my laptop, so it's not an error that most people will probably run into. And if you set up like an Ubuntu server instance, my guess is it's compiled into the kernel regardless. And that's probably why it's missing from my system.
Here we go. Oh, yep. In Ubuntu, it's compiled in. It's for Zen. I've never even heard of this.
That's right. Well, anyway, it like I said, I'm pretty sure it's just a quirk on my system. If what did you run self medicate on with VM driver equals none?
Ubuntu 1804 or
Okay.
1810.
Not a desktop, right? Like server operating system.
No, it's a desktop, dude.
Really?
It's my dev box.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, why? Oh, the loop device mounts ISO images as a file system.
Yeah, but it's needed by this, I think.
Okay, but Multis, I have Multis installed. I have the config file installed.
Yeah, are you getting your net interfaces at least?
No.
So you have the config put into place before Multis is running?
Yeah, I mean I've even rebooted my machine. If you look at the script as it is, right? There's some stuff we do in there, like we copy home docker multis conf to etsy cni net d1 multis conf.
Yeah, so basically what I did in that section to replace all of that is I just simply all of the SCP and SSH commands are immediately after we do minikube start. What I did was I commented all that out, and then above the minikube start command, so before minikube's even running, because again we're now running it on a local system, so we're not waiting for a VM to get spun up. We can do this. I create the CNI bin directory. I download all of the plugins from the release, and then I download our special little anti-bridge plugin, which we probably should just get rid of. That was an abandoned experiment that we totally rely on right now. And then after that,
I have the multis conf in the wrong directory.
Yeah, it should be an etsy cni net.d.
Yeah. There's also an opt CNI net D.
Yeah, don't do that. It's Etsy CNI net.d. So that's what I'm doing after that. I just create Etsy CNI net.d, and then I run a copy from manifests slash multiscni.conf into that directory. And and since nothing's running, there's nothing to restart at that point. You just since I'm just dealing with the local system, I'm just copying those things into place, and then um, and then starting Minikube. And Minikube simply just consumes those things when they're ready. You still have to run kubectl create manifests multis install like we're already doing. Same thing with kubectl apply for weave. So I didn't touch any of those commands.
You have to do that every time because Multis is still installed even when I stop it.
No, not every time. I'm saying you still have to install multis and weave after the cluster is spun up. You can't somehow do that before, is the point that I was making. Because it's done with kubectl.
Hold on. You mean the part where it says create? Well, you don't really install it. You do manifest. You do a create -f manifest multis install, right?
Yeah.
You have to do that every time, is what you're saying.
No, no, I'm not saying that. I just said no. You don't need to install that every time. What I was saying was it's kind of pointless. It doesn't really matter. I was just saying I was making the comment that unlike all of the configuration files, which we are now able to do before we start Minikube, you still have to run those commands after we start Minikube to actually install Multis. It was literally, it was like a pointless comment. It's fine.
Should there be other files in Etsy CNI netd?
I don't think so.
Just the one Multis one?
Yeah. Yeah, especially, have you started Minikube yet?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, it'll be empty until you install Weave. Once you install Weave, it'll install its own config at like 10 dash, which is why we name ours 1 dash, so it stays the lead. But for now, yeah, it's going to be totally empty. That's why on my self-medicate script, I'm actually creating that directory because I don't even think it'll exist.
All right, let's see if it loads this Multis config now that I copied it. I thought I put it in there. All right. I don't think anyone's joining. Do you want to just get off of this and get on a regular call? Or do you you can do Zoom too. I don't give a shit.
Well, I would like to stay on for at least another 10 minutes.
Okay.
Just because people joined really late last time. Didn't they even like join at like 8:30?
Yeah, there was a couple people that did.
you see Ryan's
This comment about Firecracker?
message? Hmm?
Which Ryan? Sorry.
Ryan Wilson in MP2.
Hold on a second. No, I didn't. Okay. Well, let's see what happens. I'm going to try to load a lesson. No, that's the wrong one. Ryan Wilson. Is that the dude we talked to yesterday?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's the Bitovi guy.
All right. Oh, no. Please don't tell me it's crashing again. I'm going to be pissed if that's true. Nope, it's fucking crashing again. God damn it. You gotta be fucking kidding me. Oh my god, dude, I'm gonna lose my mind. It's Scribe Pods.
So I'm running the jet lesson right now, which uses the full VQFX image. And it's working. And it's working really well. Like no keyboard delay at all. And I did not change the Kimo KVM thing. I didn't watch how long it took to boot, so I don't know that much. But it's up. I can try starting it again and timing it. So you know that sales guy yesterday that I had a meeting with, and he stood me up.
No.
I had a half-hour meeting scheduled, and like no one showed up. And he sent me an email like an hour later, apologizing and saying they had some sort of ZTP demo that was going wrong, and so I had originally sent him an email asking him to schedule it for sometime this morning because it was getting kind of late yesterday. But he apparently didn't see that. He scheduled it for like he rescheduled it for like 3 that afternoon. And I was like, well, okay, it's not really what I asked, but I'm free, so fine. We'll just get it out of the way. So I hop on the call at 3 again, as you know, that's the call I went to. And he stood me up again. Like no one showed up on that one.
I know that's what worries me when Mike says, like, there's going to be consequences if we can't get people to buy into the automation 5-step. I'm like, well, we can't get, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how else to, I have no idea. I don't know what to do.
You know what our OKR is, right?
Yeah.
5 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. That doesn't mean 5 automation 5 steps though. You know that, right?
Yes, I know. We just got to get one.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
It says pod sandbox changed. It will be killed and recreated.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Usually that's a response to something else, like the container failing, I guess, or maybe the pod getting like hung up. Could be a network issue, like with the CNI plugin. Usually, there's no other messages other than that. There's usually other messages that are alongside that.
Journal CTL-K. Right?
By the way, you saw James's note about NFT 21, right?
No.
It's in Team Wins. I reminded him about pulling together a team of folks to talk about what they want to present at NFT One, and maybe using NRA Labs as the platform for doing that. Anyway, James responded and tagged you and asked if you could pull a meeting together with those folks.
With who? It's in an email?
Nope, it's in Slack. It's in Team Wins. Christian Gilby and Matt Barletta and Snehansu. He doesn't say the last name. Snehansu. There you go. I want to, and it might be that nothing comes of that, but it's nice and early. There's still a few months to go for NFD. So if there's an opportunity for us to get them trained up on building a lesson, now would be the time to do that.
Yeah. IPVS.
Where are you seeing that?
Um, it, do you know what IPVS is?
Yeah, and we shouldn't be using it.
Well, when I started, it popped up.
When you started a lesson?
I think when I started Minikube
Where did it pop up?
in the journal CTL.
Oh, okay.
About 12 minutes ago is when I started when I started Minikube, and it came up. Minikube IPVS. So we should not be using that, you're saying?
Well, I don't think so. I thought that we didn't use that if we were using CNI. If now that I'm saying it, I'm probably wrong, but I thought that IPVS was only used if you were using the whatever the fucking default is for Kubernetes, not CNI, Kube network or whatever it's called. Anyway, it's probably fine. What are you seeing that presents a problem though?
No, I'm just looking through the log. I'm speaking out loud what I'm looking at. Like I see
Oh, okay.
Open vSwitch is loaded when we do this Minikube thing. There's loading a bunch of shit. Net interfaces are being created. Yep.
This is loading the lesson then.
Yeah, I started loading the lesson just
And you're looking
after
at the logs.
I loaded Minikube. So it was probably at the 10:21, about a minute after I started Minikube, I started a lesson. And when I started the lesson, Open vSwitch logged a message, and then it started doing Weave VXLAN. It launched VXLAN. That's interesting. I thought we weren't doing that.
How often? Sorry, say that again. You didn't think we were doing what?
VXLAN.
We're not.
Well, it created one VXLAN interface.
Unless that, I don't think that's how Weave works. That would be the only exception, is maybe Weave uses VXLAN, but I don't think they do.
The other thing is
No, they're custom. It's a custom encapsulation.
one of these, whenever we launch, there's it's the VQFX images are expecting a specific kind of CPU, and so they're accessing a model specific register.
What?
Yeah. And it's and there's like thousands and thousands of times on boot they're calling some instruction, and by default when KVM sees this, it just does a no op, it ignores it, and I'm trying to figure out what the fuck it is.
I'm struggling with most of this, dude.
Do you know what a model specific register is?
That's not what I'm struggling with. What I'm struggling with is I'm not seeing the behavior that you and Adam are seeing, almost 95% of it. So like I'm just not seeing it. And I can't reproduce it.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. I just wish there was more.
Like when I was telling you that I've been able to start like the jet lesson and all of that, like the VQFX image in there, that's the full VQFX image. Um, both on my local system and in PTR, like repeatedly. I've never not been able to boot that. Like literally every single time I've tried to boot it, it works.
What, his lesson?
Mm-hmm.
And it creates the net interfaces? Well, now mine are created.
Well, the jet lesson specifically doesn't do multiple or doesn't have multiple VQFXs. So not on that one, no.
Jeez.
Where is his lesson, by the way? Oh, that's right. It's in his branch. So what I should do actually is probably clone from that. Yeah. A. Grochowski
Mm-hmm.
says he doesn't have any repos.
No, Grachowski A.
Uh,
Great. It's crashing again. That's super awesome.
I'm putting his lesson in here. So that I can boot his lesson on my machine too.
Okay. It did finally boot. I'm going to do a start shell. There's got to be a way. FreeBSD show CPU.
Nice. I'm trying to get Rubric into this meeting. I told you Chris Wall reached out to me for a date announce show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he one of the most recent data knots episodes was actually him being interviewed by um, Ethan about REST APIs, I think. Anyway, they he mentioned that they have like a they have like a developer advocacy program, and they have like lessons that they've built on like what are REST APIs and whatnot. And I sent him a message. I was like, hey, dude, like regardless of what we do, like on a podcast, we should you should join our stand-ups. I'd love for your team to be involved. And
Oh, that's cool.
He said, yeah, he'll make introductions soon. And they're a storage company, but who gives a shit?
No.
Friday of this week. Friday's good. I could do Friday.
that?
Oh, that's why. I'm just looking for the NRA Labs Zoom login info. I guess I'm not registered on this machine to the NRA Labs org with my one password.
So is there a COSIM config file or just a startup script?
Just definitely not a config file that I've seen. Just the TGZ. You put it in the source directory and it makes it happen.
Yeah, that's not what I meant. There's there's a not build source, could be launch. There's something where it launches the the image.
Well, that does exist, yeah.
Starting COSIM. Autorun.sh.
Yep. PecoSim, PE-COSIM, Arian, Autorun.
Where is that located? That's just in the bucket.
Inside that TGZ, actually, because I think that's one of the things it does in the Docker files. It extracts that.
Oh, is that right?
Pretty sure.
Okay. Let me see here.
In fact,
yep, there it is. VGX full COSIM. Okay, so we're going to do tar EZF VQFX CD. Oh yeah, look at that.
So what are you doing?
I'm trying to figure out if there's a way to, if there's a reason why there's PE underscore COSIM. So there's run COSIM, so can't run underscore COSIM. There we go. I'm just trying to figure out why it's crashing like it was. Like it's got to do it. We have to, it can't do that, right? So, another thing is I don't have huge pages. Do you have huge pages on your thing?
Mm-hmm.
You do? They're enabled?
Yeah, it's required.
I don't have that. What do you mean it's required?
Marcel told me that it's a requirement for his image.
Well, that could be a problem.
Why?
Shit, because I don't have by default, my system doesn't have huge pages enabled.
Yeah, I just went through the prep instances Ansible playbook, which is what prepares all of our hosts to do that stuff. And I just and same thing with like installing the loop module, all of that stuff. What? Why? First off, why do people use ellipses when they don't mean it? And then the thing that Oberjic says for this latest book for automation thread. Ugh. Um, okay, I need to go get the Zoom password so I can send it. Or not the password,
The link.
the like our room, like for the account, so I can use it for something.
Okay.
I will then.
I'll talk to you later. It's fine.
Yeah, I'll push what I have with self medic. Actually, sorry, I will finish booting. I'm rebuilding the cluster right now.
Okay.
I'm going to load Adam's lessons and see if I can get that running, and I'll let you know how that goes.
Sure. I'll talk to you later.
All right, later.
Bye.